Our first guest on this week's Jack Swarbrick Show is a graduate of the Mendoza College of Business who is now in grad school and back for her 5th season with the Fighting Irish cross-country team. Karen Lesiewicz came to Notre Dame in 2011 as one of the top cross-country recruits in the nation, earning her a rare full track and field scholarship. But a string of injuries kept her off the course and track her freshman season and hampered her during her sophomore season as well. Last season, Karen played a key role on an Irish team that earned an at-large bid to the 2014 NCAA cross-country championships. She decided to return to the Irish for her 5th season because she feels she still has much to accomplish and much to offer the Notre Dame cross-country team. Karen is here today to chat with Jack and Joe.
So neither of you guys could leave, huh?
No.
Two fifth years?
Had to come back. Had to get a taste for more.
I know, right? Once it bites you, you can't exactly run away from this Notre Dame bug, right?
No, and I did the whole faking, I'm going to look some other places. In the back of your head, you're just like, I know I'm going to be here kind of thing.
Well, we're thrilled to have you back, and I know you're early in what promises to be a really great season for Notre Dame women's cross country. The depth and quality of this squad is pretty special. So tell me a little about your feelings going into the season.
Yeah, we have a very strong freshman class that's come in, and last year I think the majority of our freshmen were all kind of in the middle distance crew, so that's more 800. And then now this year, the majority of them are in the distance crew. So happy to have a lot of company, a lot of new fresh faces, a lot of fresh energy. And yeah, it's just been great. So much talent that's come out of high school. And yeah, it's just been nice to get to know the girls. And every team's different, every dynamic's different. And I think we really have a great energy about us this year.
Joe and I, by the way, both consider 800 a long distance.
You said like a sprint distance, middle distance, and I'm like, anything over 40 yards is a serious distance for me.
Yeah.
But you talked a little bit about how you have so many young girls, young guys coming in that distance group, and I don't know if there has been a sense of excitement around a recruit like Anna Rohr in quite some time. And can you just speak a little bit about, you're a leader on this team. You've been here for 5 years. You've been around this Notre Dame campus. Just talk about how you can be there for someone like Anna and how she can bring something to maybe you and you vice versa for this team.
Yeah, Anna was I think, top recruit coming out of high school. And I think it's pretty great. We have, I think, 3 of the past 4 winners of the Foot Locker, so with Molly and then her with her 2 on this team right now. So that's pretty crazy. And I think someone like her coming here and right off the bat having girls to train with, someone at that level going to a team, you want to make sure you have girls to train with because you're kind of at that elite level. And so, just having so many girls like Danny and Molly, and we got to transfer Lexi and just so many girls to train with, having her on the team is such an asset because, they're just going to grow together. And so I guess something learning from her is you look at someone like that and they're very disciplined. They don't get to be at that level because, they just kind of goofed off in high school. I think she's very focused. She's very disciplined. And she's someone who I think is a little bit injury prone. She's had some injuries in the past. And so talking with her and seeing how she takes her cross-train days and she really, gets after it when she's not running and serious about her recovery. I think that's something that I've picked up right away, just of how she, handles herself and why she's successful.
I suspect that if we conducted a national survey and asked people to name great, running schools, ours might not be at the tip of a lot of tongues. They may say Oregon or Villanova or someplace.
Yeah.
But I found it so fascinating that the American record holder, national champion in the 10,000 meters, is a graduate of this place, Molly Huddle.
Yeah.
The collegiate champion in the 10,000 meters is a current member of the team. And as we said, Anna, the national cross-country champion. Yeah. There's a great culture and legacy being built right now all around Notre Dame running.
Oh, definitely. And I think, too, that's a little bit of a risk. When you get someone at such an elite level in high school, you want to, I think with someone in parallel of that is Molly. I think maybe her first few years here, she didn't see the success she wanted to. First off, with injuries, really in cross country, it's all about consistency. Some of the best runners who line up aren't always the most talented. They're just the most consistent. They take care of themselves. They haven't had to take downtime, and that's when you get better. And so someone like Molly, I think, just saw inconsistencies. And then when she was finally able to kind of be on a program that she was just able to be consistent and not contained, I think that's just when her true talent, comes out and you're able to flourish and shine. Yeah, sometimes it's in high school, sometimes it's in college, sometimes it's professional is when that lid is kind of released and you just are free to be who you want to be and, run how you're meant to run. So many different styles.
I got to ask you, did you see Molly Huddle's heartbreaking finish at the World Championships?
I think we all kind of did the next day, and that's rough to see. At least it was an American, is what we kept saying. At least it was an American that beat an American.
Right.
But that was just a lesson to be learned, I guess, through just life. Finish what you started.
Finish the play.
Finish the play.
Yes, right. Now, we're bringing it back to football.
Bringing it back.
So you talked a little bit about injuries in cross country, and for the listeners that might not know, cross country is extremely hard on the body, and you have to be so smart. I'm sure. Can you talk a little bit about just your experience here? Because I know that you were a top recruit, and then you experienced some injuries in your freshman year, and kind of just working through those. Maybe just tell a little bit about your story and give the listeners a view of really what can kind of happen in this sport.
Yeah, I was kind of one of those rare people. I had to take a whole year off, essentially. My whole freshman year, I redshirted. I had to have surgery on my foot. It was a weird bone thing that was, it's very uncommon. It's like, 0.02% of the population. So thanks, Mom and Dad. But so I had to take a whole year off, and I think just mentally it can be, I think there's physical injuries, but just dealing with it mentally sometimes is the toughest part. Give me a sore leg, give me a sore foot, that's fine. But mentally, just being out of the game and something you're so accustomed to in high school, and it's your identity coming here freshman year, it's very hard to adjust to so many new things. But I think something that you touched on earlier when you guys were talking is it's not a sprint, it's a marathon.
Right.
And you got to think long term, absolutely, in cross country. And freshman year, you kind of have that tunnel vision of like, oh my God, this injury's forever. I'm never going to feel healthy again. But just having that faith, having that hope, especially going to Notre Dame, such an opportunity to grow from any experience, and especially injuries. I think there's so many support systems here, and just an opportunity for me personally to get closer to my faith. I think freshman year, being hurt, I think you reach out, for something greater than you when you're having the joy of your life and the sorrows of your life. And for me, my freshman year was, some pain and physical injury that had me reach out, and I think, in the long run, made me a better person.
That's a great example for your teammates too, because as you guys have alluded to, it's part of that sport. It's going to happen to everybody. Graduate of Mendoza, in graduate school now. Tell us a little bit about academically what you're doing now, but also what do you see in the future? How do you plan to use the Notre Dame experience?
Yeah, it was undergraduate. So I was a graduate of Mendoza College of Business in marketing. Woo!
Let's go.
I wish we had like a handshake we could do, like
There's
Mendoza.
We'll come up with one.
We don't have anything cool.
I know. I'm just like
you just sell each other stuff.
I don't know what
yeah,
this
can I interest you in a product?
I like it.
Yeah, we can figure out something. But Mendoza College of Business. That was. I think it was something I was very interested in. I don't know about you, but I chose my major by a process of elimination, and it wasn't. I don't really know what I want to do, but I kind of know what I don't want to do.
Good.
And then what was left, I kind of weighed out my options, and marketing seemed like the best fit. And so undergraduate, I thought that was such a solid degree and just, something that I could really hold on to and could be, great networking for me in the future. And then now I'm doing some graduate studies in film and television. And so having that.
No way.
Yeah, actually, so Max Lakowacki, who's soccer, obviously.
Yeah.
We're in like the exact same program. We're just kind of, it's an undeclared grad program, but we're taking FTT classes, ones that we couldn't have taken because you weren't in the major. And so I think having that as a supplement to marketing that's more concentrated in what I want to do, work in film and television. I worked at a casting company this summer where they do casting for national commercial, print, and television. And so using my business skills and I think the work ethic that I developed and maybe wouldn't have developed had I not gotten a strong business background was going to aid just moving forward and maybe trying to stand out in a business like that.
That's a great combination. That's marvelous. I may never live down my appearance on the Max and Grant show.
Did you ever see that?
Oh yeah, that was so great. They were just like, oh my God, two hoots. They were such good compliments.
In a weird sort of way, they were good compliments.
It was a very strange dynamic, but it was absolutely perfect for their show. And I don't know, we all love Max and Grant, but so tell us a little bit about what's coming up now for our cross country team. Like what are we preparing for at this time, and really kind of what are we looking for in the early part of this the school year? Yeah,
coming up. So most recently is tomorrow. We got our National Catholic Invitational, and that's home on the golf course. We've got about 40 teams. Great thing about this invite is it's all different levels of schools, and all Catholic schools. And so it's just such a great experience, to maybe ease into the season with not, such a crazy meet of just, Division I schools. It's just a mix, I think, especially for the freshmen, just to ease into the season and not feel overwhelmed. And then, so after that's the Notre Dame Invitational. And I think something so great about our team, especially with such, promising talent, is we have a little bit of the luxury of basing our training towards long term, whereas maybe last year I think we were like, let's get to the regional meet and see how great we can be and get out of there. With our talent now and just the depth that we have, you can kind of focus a little bit more on the national meet and get there a little bit of an easier way instead of pushing yourself hard from the beginning.
Part of the strategy is who to run when in those events, right? So
Absolutely.
You're tapering towards the end of the year. Mm-hmm. I presume within the meet there's a lot of team-related strategy, because you're trying to maximize total points, especially in the important meets. How much of that is discussed beforehand, and how much of it just evolves in the course of the meet?
I think it's more individually discussed. I guess if you go in and you talk with Coach Sparks, he'll give you maybe individual game plans and what the whole plan is altogether. Like, for example, Molly Seidel's not going to be running this National Catholic meet. Is it a strategy? I don't know. She's just going to be getting more rest just because she's, kind of a secured, like, let's go on a long-term plan for you.
Right.
And so you have strategy like that. I think when it comes down to it, though, to the championship part of the season, I mean, rarely do you line up at the line and say, yep, this is like 100%. We're all 100%. This is what it's supposed to be. You've got injury. You've got people running on, something hurt, something sore. And so when it comes down to it, at the end of the meets, strategy, but you just get out there and run. There's not much more strategy than just, hey, have your good race.
Well, thanks so much for joining us, Joe. If you go out to the National Catholic meet, there's no cursing.
Okay. I'll make sure I patrol my mouth here. I'll do my very, very best.
Do your very best. Yes.
We really appreciate you being with us today. Best of luck in the season. We're really excited about what the future holds. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Had fun.
Thanks for coming on.